Hello, I'm Interweb Studios and today we ask Reddit. Millennials. What confuses you most about Gen Z? I actually thought this thread was quite interesting, so let's continue it in the comment section down below. With that out of the way, sit back and enjoy. Why are all the sneakers so bulky? I feel like that's just early 2000s fashion coming back around. Skateboarding shoes were super popular and bulky like cinder blocks when I was 13 or 14 around 2002. Yeah, but that's skater shoes. I've been looking for a new pair of running shoes and they all have 1.52-inch thick soles. Where are all the Gen Z celebrities? Apart from Tom Holland and Zendaya, I cannot think of a leading man or woman in Hollywood in their 20s. Ryan Gosling is playing Ken in the Barbie movie and he's 41. A ton of older celebrities are getting roles actors used to never get at their age. It's actually been a big issue. The amount of actors doing action movies or other typically young roles in their late 40s and 50s is stunning. Some studies have found a correlation in the rise of streaming services and the fall of celebrity actor status. The general idea now is that the biggest movies are mainly consumed in the home, and that this has had the effect of draining the significance of actors. Gen Z is just the first generation to grow up in that environment. It doesn't help that all the actors are actively posting their entire lives on social media, including their idiotic takes about things they know little about, which ends up ruining any mystique and mystery. In the past, aside from Entertainment Tonight show, it was hard to get a look at their private lives and behind the scenes. Their image was much more carefully curated and controlled, and some created a whole mythology behind their persona. Do none of you realize putting your entire life on the internet is going to come back to bite you in the ass someday? I did, so I changed and deleted everything and now keep a low profile on social media. I know about how I could get into danger or be denied a job. I'm 37 and realized this just about digital cameras showing up everywhere 20+ years ago. I made sure not to be in any photos in college unless they were completely okay. Best decision ever. Yeah, this terrifies me as a millennial. The stuff I put out freely on Friendster, then MySpace, then Facebook, Twitter is kid stuff compared to what's out there right now. When I went and got a big boy job, I made a point of deleting all my socials I could think of, and it's not like I want to be a public figure out there, but there are still probably a few posts, videos that could mess things up for me. Every time I see kids doing wild shit in public and posting that freely and going viral, I just step back and think, someday a job will be doing a background check on you and all this will come out, and just feel bad for them. They don't drink alcohol. I went to a college football game recently and I was really surprised by what I saw. Back in the 2000s or 2010s you would see what seemed like everyone getting hammered in the AM. I'm talking shots at any bar you went to, doing pulls off liquor bottles on the street, whatever. It was routine to see people passed out places, getting loaded into ambulances, etc. Obviously none of this is good and I'm not encouraging any of it, but in my experience that's just what college football game day is like. Fast forward to the game I went to recently and my group were the most drunk. Number of people and level of drunkenness I think I saw all weekend. I'm not bragging, just saying it's really strange to go into a college bar before the game and do a couple of shots while the kids these days look at you like you're crazy. We followed up with some research and apparently all of the stats back it up. With Gen Z, it's official alcohol isn't cool anymore, which is a good thing because it is absolutely terrible for a variety of reasons. Edit. This was opening day at an SEC school. Not exactly a backwoods Bible college. I should have been more clear on what I meant by drink alcohol. There were kids at bars and whatnot. The bars just weren't absolutely jam-packed with as many people as they could fit, trying to get blackout drunk as quickly as possible. In my era, game day was literally everyone you know binge drinking times 10. So many vapes. Weed isn't legal in this state, but who's really checking what's in any of those things? Probably the proliferation of edibles and weed. It's legal in most places, and even though I'm 38 I can confidently say being high is much more fun than being drunk. How do all these young guys get their hair to look that way? That's super in right now. Are they out getting perms? Lol, the broccoli cut. A recent haircut visit and chatting with the hairdresser confirmed this. Perms are popular right now, apparently. It's so weird. I'm 30, and the class clown in my 7th grade class got a perm just to be funny. Who would have thought that 18 years later it would be cool? Decades ago I was working with drywallers, my hair was longer and had a nice curl to it. One guy one day asked me why I was spending so much time making my hair in the morning, and he legit thought I had a perm. I couldn't stop ducking laughing. I was like, dude, I just get up, smoke a joint and come to work. Thanks for this. My gym is filled with teenagers lately for some reason, who travel in herds and block the machines, and just last week I was looking around and wondering how all of the boys have curly hair. A perm did cross my mind. Honestly, I like the look. And all the Gen Z girls have a middle part at all times. No side parts, no flipped over hair, and no brushing the hair back into a higher ponytail or bun. Always a middle part. I know middle parts have been the thing for a while. I just didn't realize until recently that's all that's allowed. I'm not cool anymore with my messy bun and my complaining about teenagers at the gym. Oh well. Why some of them act like they pioneered the social media, influencer boom, or look at me surprised because I have Snapchat, etc. Even though many of these came out when millennials like me were in our early 20s and the core demographic. One of the more interesting things I've read said that the biggest mind-duck of getting older is talking to young people who will emphatically say things that are objectively false and argue that you don't understand things that you literally lived through. Gen X here to say, everyone younger than me keeps discovering things the way Columbus discovered the New World. The most infuriating example of this for me is hearing what happened during the 2008 recession, by an 18-year-old. Mother ducker, you were still sleeping in a race car bed when that happened. A close second is being told what the internet was like in the 90s. By someone who literally wasn't alive then. Can't wait for today's 5-year-olds to tell us all about how the pandemic really went down. A teenager the other day said, AFK, then said, oh, you probably don't know what AFK means. I was like, are you serious? My generation invented AFK. Put some respect on our name, damn it. It's hilarious. I have a niece who's in high school, and her friends and stuff think they came up with everything. They look at me weird when I talk about apps, or clothing trends, or talk about a certain song that they're listening to. The one that always makes me laugh is when they're playing a song and I start singing along, and they're all surprised. Even though the song came out 20-30 years ago, or it's a song that blew up when I was in high school. Like a lot of old Drake songs. That guy blew up when I was in high school. I know a lot of his old music, but they don't understand. A lot of kids wear Kappa tracksuits where I am too. That's what I was wearing in grade 7 and 8. Why are they all younger than me? Grow up. When I was their age, I was older. I had to age uphill. Both ways. In the snow. Barefoot. Fighting off bears with a loose leaf notebook. The fact they might think about the 90s the same way I thought about the 80s or 70s when I was a child of the 90s, a long time ago. If Smashing Pumpkins' song 1979 came out today, it would be called 2005. I'm only 25, and I feel like teenagers look back on the 90s the same way I look back on the 50s. I think our exponential rate of technological change has something to do with that. 2022 minus 1990 equals 32. 1990 minus 32 equals 1958. Delete this. I'm 24, so what confuses me most is which generation I belong to. You're a cusp. 1 foot in each generation, the bridge between worlds. So, their coming was foretold, and they will bring peace between the millennials and gens, ushering in approximately 10 years of a golden age? Some definitions of the term millennial says until 00. But others draw the line at 96. Edit. Removed the Goldman Sachs definition. I just saw it recently, calm down people. Here's a wiki source. Millennials, also known as Generation Y or Gen Y, are the demographic cohort following Generation X and preceding Generation Z. Researchers and popular media use the early 1980s as starting birth years and the mid-1990s to early 2000s as ending birth years, with the generation typically being defined as people born from 1981 to 1996. They have a very weird and strange sense of humor. Like it's hard to articulate what it is exactly. But it's quite precise? It's chaotic and can't be explained. Every time I see Zoomer stuff I feel like an old man who knows about typewriters being taught StarCraft. Meme culture has progressed through in 15 years what took art roughly 1500 years to do. Currently, Gen Z humor is roughly analogous to the Dadaist, Surrealist, and Absurdist art movements of post-World War I Europe. The whole point is the absurdity. There was that phase in millennial humor too. I mean, remember all that surreal stuff on Adult Swim? Too Many Cooks? Aqua Teen Hunger Force? I would say millennial humor was a lot more absurdist. I remember some of the first viral videos like Salad Fingers, Charlie the Unicorn, Badger, Mushroom, etc. You rarely see such humor nowadays. Gen Z humor is far from Dadaism, I would say. It's almost always related to a situation in the real world or self-deprecating. Dadaism and absurdism are similar but distinct. Absurdism takes normal things and twists them in unexpectedly offbeat ways. Lots of Monty Python sketches are absurdist. For example, the famous Dead Parrot sketch is absurd in many ways. But the humor comes from a normal everyday experience, someone returning an animal to a pet shop, and makes it absurd. Dadaism takes away the normalcy requirement and attempts to make humorous connections between literally anything. An image of a hot dog wearing a powdered wig and a caption saying, "It's not Wednesday my chicks," would be Dadaist, but not absurd, because there's nothing about that's meant to feel like it's a twist on something normal. The humor comes from seeing such random unconnected things shoved together in unexpected, unusual, or surprisingly salient, intelligent ways. For a generation that grew up with Internet 2.0 and was handed an iPad at age 5, I'm baffled by how unsavvy they are with very basic, useful tech functions. For example, how to effectively Google something and navigate the search results, how to troubleshoot internet connection issues, how to not believe 100% of what you see online, etc. A lot of it is simplified and just works. We had to beat the shit out of things to get them to work. This is really the answer. They're not using tech. They're using tech light that's been optimized to deliver content and generate ad revenue. If there is no profit motive, it's unlikely to happen. This is why the latest iPhone that needs replacing every 2 years has a much larger advertising budget than the PC that will last 10 and cost 25% as much. I don't understand the rise of short-form content like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. I will happily have a 4-hour video up in the background while I do things and the short-form content annoys me. Even my preferred viewing experience when I'm actively watching is around a half hour. I can only assume the Gen Z population is part of the reason for short-form content taking over, and I just don't see the appeal. It's new age channel surfing in my opinion. It's also easy to consume and mindlessly scroll through, which keeps the brain happy with plenty of novelty. Dopamine. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment what confuses you about Generation Z, and until next time.